The Footprints Conversation series features discussions and insights from accomplished workplace and marketplace leaders and their experiences on key leadership issues that could be of value to professionals and business people working for the Lord in their workplace and marketplace. Today, we are honored to have the former First Lady and Her Majesty Queen Esther. She's joined by her uncle Honorable Mordecai. They both have extensive experience in politics, diplomacy, and governance. Her Majesty and Honorable, we welcome you to the Footprints Conversations.
We are happy to be here, and greetings to your audience.
Your Majesty, in Part 1 and 2, you used your own personal experience to present to us two key leadership lessons of shaping and serving. Today, we are here for at least the third lesson and, if time permits, the fourth lesson.
Yes, these two leadership lessons are pivotal for the third lesson, which is sensitivity to the Lord's move. For example, if you don't consider your position as a ministry for serving, you will never be sensitive to the move of the Lord and the purpose behind your position. Since my uncle Mordecai played an instrumental role in teaching me this leadership lesson, he will be the best person to talk about that.
That's very nice of you, Her Majesty. Thank you for those kind words. There are two things I want your audience to know about this leadership lesson. First, sensitivity means you have to respond to the call for action. In my case, I responded and called Her Majesty to action that led to the monumental statement, "If I perish, I perish." Her Majesty will tell you more about that. Second, your sensitivity does not depend on the level of your position or job. In my case, my position was sitting at the king's gate, like what you may call a watchman or a security officer. I was not a manager or a director. I was not a boss, but I was sensitive to the timings and the move of the Lord. I knew the Lord has a purpose for putting me in that watchman position. Let me ask someone in your audience, do you know the purpose behind the position you are holding, or you are seeking to hold? You may realize that the purpose is greater than yourself.
This is amazing. From a position like a watchman, you were sensitive to the move of the Lord.
Yes, so we don't have to wait for the higher position before being sensitive to the Lord's move. The Lord has a purpose for your current position. If you are faithful for the little position, He will put you in charge of higher position like He did for my uncle. My uncle kept reminding me on several occasions that, "Esther, you are in this position for such a time like this. The mission is greater than your interests and benefits. You are in this position for many other people."
This is amazing. You are in this position for such a time as this. Your Majesty, there is a comment from the audience for you. Why should everything be responded with prayer? For example, when Haman was pursuing the genocide of all the Jews, you could have resorted to other rational and legal remedies for human right abuse. Why should it always be prayer? Prayer. Prayer?
Great question, and good luck with rational and legal remedies. Those institutional structures and systems are not bad, but let me tell you that if we had relied on those, we may not have been here today for this Footprints Conversations. The mystery is that you have yielded your vessel for the Spirit of the Lord to use the Footprints Conversations to provide alternative messages that could provide spiritual nourishment on social media. In the same way, someone like Haman yielded as an instrument to principalities and powers to be used to destroy the Lord's children. You are just an instrument. Haman was also just an instrument. Flesh and blood. But neither you nor Haman should be the target of the spiritual warfare.
So, this is about not fighting against flesh and blood, and henceforth know we no man after the flesh, as the Scriptures say?
Of course, the target should be the strongholds, territorial spirits of Susa, as well as principalities and spiritual forces of darkness working through Haman and certainly my husband King Xerxes. How could we bind and pull down those strongholds without prayer? How could we demolish the hostile thoughts and feelings of Haman without prayer? How could we take the decisions of King Xerxes captive to make it obedient to the Lord's will without prayer? That is why I called for the 3 days of fasting and prayers. Let me tell you that after handling everything in the spiritual realm with fasting and prayers, I could then stake my life and risk death by execution if the king refuses to extend the golden scepter. If I perish, I said. But because we had already bound those strongholds controlling King Xerxes and taken captive his thoughts and subjected his decisions to the will of the Lord with the 3 days fasting and prayers, when I stepped onto the inner court, it was the Spirit of the Lord in control, and King Xerxes has no choice then to extend the scepter.
Amazing. I think you have evidence to prove that prayer works because after the 3 days fasting and prayers, the Lord used you and your uncle to stop what could have been the worst genocide in human history more than Hitler's Holocaust.
You bet.
You are right on point.
What a testimony. If you are in the audience and going through a stressful and hostile relationship with your boss at work, why not try this divine weapon? Your boss should not be the target. He or she is just an instrument. Why not take authority in the realm of the Spirit and demolish the strongholds and principalities that may be controlling your boss in prayer? Try it. If the decisions of your boss are taken captive and brought under the control of the Spirit of the Lord, that hostility will cease. Unfortunately, time is up. Please let us show our appreciation to Her Majesty First Lady Esther and her uncle Honorable Mordecai.
If the Footprints discussion has been a blessing to you, pass it on to be a blessing to others. Are you a Christian drama group, literary club, or someone with creative arts talents? Are you interested in using your creative arts talents to convey biblical leadership principles for Christian professionals and business people in the workplace and marketplace? Then bring your talents on board for Kingdom Impacts.